Hi, my name is John, and my wife and I have been estranged from her entire family of 40 people for over 3 years. As we've had time to look back, there were experiences that I didn't think much about in the moment, but now I realize they were giant red flags. One particular event happened on a family trip with the extended family to Jackson Hole, Wyoming, and it particularly grates on me. My father in law, he owned about 5 acres of property. It was beautiful property along a river in Woodland, Utah. And for years, he talked about building a cabin there, which awesome. You got the land, you have the money, your dream. Go ahead, go for it, right? But then one day at the trip in Jackson Hole, he unrolled the blueprints, and there were 8 master bedrooms and 8 bathrooms, one suite for every married couple in the family. And then he started explaining why. He said that when the world starts falling apart before the second coming, that we'd all move there together. We'd have animals, we'd have access to the river, and we'd all be safe there together. And then he looked at all of us and he said, I'd like each family to pay 1/8 of the cost. And everybody else in the room just kind of like nodded along. And meanwhile, I'm like looking at Ashley, my wife, going, what in the heck? And so, of course, we said no. And it's not because cabins are bad and not because preparing for the future is bad, but because we didn't want to financially tie ourselves to 7 other families. I didn't want our future depending on everyone agreeing. I didn't even want to think about what it would take to negotiate holidays and maintenance and repairs and who gets to use it and when. And honestly, like at the end of the day, I believed I was responsible for providing for my own family. We could prepare, we could make wise decisions, but I didn't feel like my father in law needed to become our contingency plan if the world fell apart. Well, us bowing out of that, it didn't go over super well. And looking back, I finally understand why. It wasn't treated like we had simply made a different financial decision. It felt like we had broken like an unwritten family rule. And as the years went on, I started noticing a pattern. There always seemed to be another way to keep everybody in the family connected financially, practically, emotionally. And the more intertwined everyone's lives became, well, the harder it became to make an independent decision without disappointing the entire family. And there was something else that really stood out to me. The urgency around this wasn't just practical, it was spiritual, right? The idea was tied to fear about what would happen before the second coming. And whether that was anyone's intention or not, it left me feeling like saying no wasn't just rejecting a financial proposal. It felt like I was rejecting the family's spiritual plan. And we've learned something since then. Real faith doesn't eliminate agency, right? It honors it. And healthy families can say, hey, that's a great idea. It's just not the right fit for us, without that becoming a loyalty test. The reality is that healthy families, they build connection, but they don't require compliance. And over the years, I've realized this pattern isn't just about cabins. Sometimes it's about family business, where every adult child works for mom and dad. And sometimes it's shared property. Sometimes it's shared finances. And sometimes it's everyone living on the same street. None of those things are inherently unhealthy. In fact, they can be beautiful, like if it works. If people are truly free to say no, the real question isn't whether your family is connected. The question is, can someone choose a different path without being punished for it? Are they free to work somewhere else? Can they buy a different house? Can they raise their family differently? Can they lovingly disagree and still belong? Because when belonging becomes conditional on compliance, that is not healthy connection. That's enmeshment. And if your freedom to lovingly say no threatens the entire family system, the issue probably isn't your answer, it's the system. Anyways, that is my analysis of kind of reflecting on that family situation. I'd love to know your take. And if you have any experiences like it, I'd love to know down below in the comments.